What is going on, FA Nation? Justin Fensterman back with you, and you know what time it is. Fantasy Baseball Stock Watch time on FantasyAlarm.com. Got some players who are trending up and others trending down when it comes to their fantasy baseball production potential on our teams. Let's hit the marketplace hard. Let's talk some players' stock. First, for a few players trending up, let's start with Luke Voit. After starting off the season cold at the dish, Voit has heated up as the season's continued, and after hitting 143 in April, his batting average is up to 239. He's recorded hits in 5 of his last 7 contests and has hit 6 home runs this month. He's posted RBIs in 3 of his last 4 battles as well, and his slugging percentage is up to .447 for the year after it was at just .167 at the end of April. His walk rate has risen 2.5% since last year. He ranks 4th on the Padres in RBIs with 31, but he's produced 24 of them in the last month of action alone. Voit has a few more games against the Diamondbacks, who have allowed the 6th most runs in the MLB, and then they face the Phillies, who are still at the top half of teams that have allowed the most runs, sitting at 12th in the league. Also on the rise, John Berti. The National League leader in steals has stolen 14 of his 18 bases in June. He's been hitting very nicely this month, as there have been just 3 games in which Berti didn't hit the ball. He still stole a base in 2 of those games. He took 3 bags himself the other night. Berti doesn't have a lot of power, but he has the 2nd highest batting average on the Marlins of any hitter that has recorded at least 100 at-bats this year. Berti has crossed home plate 22 times this season, ranking him tied for 4th on the team. He has a higher slugging percentage this year than he has in his previous 2 seasons. Berti's walk rate has also risen from a season ago. Final player on the rise, Luis Garcia. Remember, just because a pitcher has taken a few losses early on, it doesn't necessarily correlate that the pitcher is the direct cause. Besides the Miami game a couple of starts ago, Garcia has seen his ERA drop from last season, and he struck out at least 6 batters in 5 of his last 8 starts. Garcia hasn't been walking as many batters over his last few games, and his whip has actually been under 1 over his last month of action. He's surrendered more than 3 earned runs in just 1 of his last 8 battles. Batters are hitting .202 against Garcia this year, which is a 30-point average drop from a season ago. Now for some players trending down. Let's start with Jesse Winker. What can we say? It's just been a lousy year for Winker, who went from being in an ultra-hitter-friendly park in Cincinnati to a tougher one in Seattle. Winker struck out just 75 times and hit .305 in 110 games last season. This year, he's already at 50 strikeouts in 66 games, and he's hitting just .209. Winker's hard hit rate has dropped 15% since last year, and we've also seen a dip in his exit velocity, which is at a career low 87.3, and his home run rate. He's hit 2 long balls in June and has produced RBIs in just 4 games this month. He's hit the ball in just 3 of his last 8 games as well. He's walking a bit more than he did in 2021, but he's scored runs in just 5 of his last 22 games. Another player sliding down, Chris Taylor. It's been a rough couple of weeks for Taylor, producing just 1 RBI during that span and hitting just above 180. His strikeout rate has risen over 5% since last year, and he's not walking as much or hitting as many home runs. Even with him hitting the ball harder than he did in 2021, his BABIP indicates that he could be getting a bit lucky, and we could see even further regression. Taylor ranks 6th on the Dodgers in RBI production and 5th in runs. He's hit in just 3 runs this month and sent 1 ball out of the park. June hasn't been too kind to Taylor, and investors who spent a 10th round pick on him in 15-team leagues can't be happy with the return that they are getting thus far. He was hitting .290 at the end of April, and his average is down to .249. Final player trending down, Blake Snell. He hasn't made too many starts, but through a few he's made in May and June, Snell sits with a 5.46 ERA and a 1.44 whip. Players are hitting .232 against him, which is a near 20-point rise from last year, and his strikeout rate is down nearly 5% from a season ago. He's walking more batters from a percentage standpoint than he did last year as well. He's walked 3 or more batters in 4 of his last 6 starts, and he's allowed 4 earned runs in 2 of his last 3 games. Hitter's exit velocity is up from last year against Snell, and what works in Snell's favor is that he's not in a hitter-friendly ballpark in San Diego, but he hasn't been able to keep his ERA down in seasons with at least 20 starts since he won the Cy Young Award in 2018. And that is another Fantasy Baseball Stock Watch, FA Nation. Keep it locked in as the content keeps flowing on fantasyalarm.com and dfsalarm.com for all your daily needs. We are all in it together and winning together as a family should. Let's continue the process and let's win those rings.